Every year, many young boxing prospects are thrown into the ring as sacrificial lambs to catapult the promises that seem destined for glory. But when Calvin Grove thought himself superior to Maromero Paez, an Aztec warrior known for his unique background, destiny would prove that glory waits for no one. Welcome. In today's video, I'll take you through the two encounters between the American Promise and the circus clown that shook the world in the late 80s, with an ending that no one could anticipate. Get comfortable because the Paez slaughter is about to showcase the finest cut of meat of the time. Anyone who came to see Jorge Maromero Páez not only witnessed a display of excellent boxing but also experienced the showmanship of an artist who entertained even those not part of his fanbase. Offering everything in one place, he went from being a meme in the discipline to becoming a legend for his agility in the ring and the unmatched power of his fists. As an artist, his specialty was transforming the bloody battles he engaged in into art. He danced masterfully in the ring with unparalleled charisma, which accompanied him to become a world champion. Born in Mexicali, Baja California on October 27, 1965, from a family dedicated to circus performances, he inherited great agility and developed a unique sense of spectacle after being an acrobat. His circus experience molded his fighting style, known for the tricks and clowning he performed once in the ring to keep the audience entertained. His eccentric personality led him to embrace the nickname Maromero, a direct reference to circus acrobats. His initial steps into the boxing ring were guided more by necessity than passion. For him, boxing was not a dream but a promise of sustenance. In his early days, he sought to elevate the noble art of boxing, hoping to secure a plate of meat every night for dinner, turning a vital need into his greatest motivation to leave his soul in every opportunity that entered the ring. Before stepping into professional boxing rings, his uncle revealed the secrets of boxing to be applied in an entertainment act within the circus, unaware that it would transform into a vocation that would shape his life. His boxing gloves seemed woven with the threads of fickle destiny, and when the time came, he left the circus behind to live the greatest odyssey of his life. His DNA was different from any other fighter on the scene, evident with every punch and dodge. The phrase, "ahead of his time," best defines Páez's stint in the discipline. Beyond selling a fight, his presence offered audiences an unexpected circus show in the ring, one they didn't anticipate liking. Thanks to his dance roots, he possessed perfect movements that facilitated a smooth transition to boxing. Initially considered cannon fodder or the trial by fire thrown at boxers who weren't performing well, he faced Calvin Grove, a prospect seemingly on a rapid rise to stardom in American boxing. With an impressive professional record of 37 wins, no losses, Grove was seen as the new promise of the discipline, marking the standard for future generations to follow. The opposite was expected for Páez, presented merely as a clown and anticipated to serve as a stepping stone to propel Grove to his next significant challenge. On August 4, 1988, the outcome at the Calafia Bullring in Mexicali was entirely unexpected. After intense exchanges in about escalating in intensity, Maromero achieved the unimaginable, standing tall in the 15th round. Unsatisfied with this, his brutal display of boxing prowess turned this last episode into the most electrifying of the entire encounter. Grove, unable to comprehend his inability to finish Páez, resorted to the tactics of weak and frustrated cowards, playing dirty to intentionally harm his opponent. The American did not anticipate that the tenacity Maromero had developed in the circus went beyond that of any rising star. Maromero knocked him down for the first time, and the audience went wild. Seeing him rise, Páez entered an almost supernatural frenzy and launched another attack to knock him down a second time. Grove got up a second time, but it was evident he was exhausted and on the verge of falling into the abyss of defeat. Even in the exhausting 15th round, Maromero ensured to leave the imprints of his fists in the minds of everyone watching. Unrelenting, he knocked the American down for the third time.
Down for the second time!
Despite the fallen promise getting up, it was clear who had fought and who was merely trying to survive. In what would be the first title fight of the International Boxing Federation, the circus artist, introduced as a clown, not only managed to endure against the champion expected to devour him in the early rounds but also broke his undefeated streak, returning the championship to Mexico.
The fight, he was carried away on a stretcher. He was so tired.
Like every confident boxer, Grove went through a tough time trying to accept that a circus clown had humiliated him in the ring. Furious, he demanded a rematch. "He who owes nothing fears nothing" is likely the phrase that prompted Páez to give the dethroned American promise a second chance to clear his name. This decision led them to face each other once again on March 30th, 1989, at the Calafia Bullring in Mexicali, where their rivalry had begun. Grove thought his performance in the ring had evolved enough to defeat Maromero, but he had no idea what kind of fighter he would encounter once inside the squared circle. The man derogatorily called a clown had proudly embraced his origins and, armed with his strength, had become an unstoppable artist in the discipline. Before we proceed, I must warn you that the boxing carnage this match turned into is on another level. Don't take your eyes off for a second and maintain discretion. The Maromero we have the privilege of witnessing in this bout was simply different. Not only was he smarter in the ring, but he also executed better strategies for more decisive and severe victories. Maromero's defense and reflexes in this match seem to have been bestowed directly by the Aztec gods. His execution was not only admirable for the time, it's extinct today.
He's got a different kind of
scores inside.
With every second, Páez only demonstrated that he had become the master of hit and evade. It probably didn't take long into the match for Grove to realize that his decision to challenge an Aztec warrior for the second time would have a deadly outcome.
Bob Spagnolia, the manager of Grove, was very upset last night. Grove should not pay any attention to that. Don't worry about that at all. What Páez...
The faded American star seemed to throw candies with every attempted attack, while his weak legs trembled after each impactful blow from the Mexican. Calvin must have experienced a storm in his mind until Maromero finally made clear his supremacy. The magnitude of power emanating from Páez remains incredible even to this day. It seemed like destiny paralleled his first victory by knocking Grove down twice again. But for some reason, the referee refused to stop the fight.
Páez figures, Grove is down! The bull closing in on the matador. No three.
Calvin's desolation led him to be knocked down a third time. Despite getting up as soon as he could, he was completely shattered. His gaze was lost in confusion, and his face was the vivid image of someone who had seen death pass before him. It was then that the referee decided to stop Maromero, who had already unleashed the ferocity of his offense towards the remains of the promise that had once considered itself superior. This time, Maromero would reaffirm his value in the discipline by winning through technical knockout. Proving he's not a one-hit wonder, Jorge Maromero Páez had a brilliant stint in the discipline, but that's a story for another video. If you enjoyed the narrative, remember there's no better way to support the content than by leaving a like on the video. Do you have any other Maromero Páez fights among your favorites? Tell me about them in the comments.